All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the season kickoff show of Varsity Chalk Talk. We are back live here at Hooley House in Mentor. My name is Bill Tilton. I'll be a host of your show as I have been for the last 8 years. We're thrilled to be back here and kicking off the season tonight. We were going to do it next week on game week, but there's a NFL football game downtown that preempted it. So that's why we're here tonight. August 14th, and we'll get you ready. 11 days until the season kicks off. We have a full show tonight, folks, an absolute jam-packed lineup. We have 10 area teams. Last week's CVC preview show went very, very well. So we won't have any CVC schools, but we got pretty much, hopefully, the rest of the area teams covered. Coach, come on up. I want to thank, first of all, a couple people. I want to thank Megan and her crew here at Hooley. Richie Reese, John, everybody who allows us to do the show. Everybody in here behind the bar, on the floor, in the kitchen. Oh, Coach, you're going to have to go that way. And everybody who's come out tonight, the parents, the players, coaches. It's a great turnout already, and we're looking forward to a busy show. We have some teams that have to come in here a little bit later because of practice tonight. So really looking forward to a interesting and hopefully informative and entertaining evening. All right, so we're going to start the night like we start every show, and we will start every show. Oh, let me be very clear on one thing. If you notice, there's no sign, there's no producer, there's no headset. So last year, we were on KNR2. The problem with KNR2 was if you weren't listening from 7 to 9, you couldn't hear it. There was no podcast, and it was tough to hear, especially when it got dark at night, that type of thing. So we are doing it a different way. We now have our own podcast that you can listen to after the show. You can listen to multiple times. You can send the file to relatives if they're out of town and they want to hear it. It's on YouTube. It's on Twitter. It's on Facebook. And it's on SoundCloud. So there's a bunch of ways to find the podcast. It is available. That's a better way for us to do it. It gives everybody more exposure. All right? So that way you know how to find information. Now, up first tonight, our kickoff guests, as they are, and you'll see them every single Monday. It is the Mentor Cardinals and Coach Steve Trevisano. Coach, how are you tonight, man?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for coming and bringing your guys. And they get the award for best dressed tonight. They're all in there, all in the all
it's
the
not
polos.
very often.
Yeah, right. Coach, let's start with last year and your words, not mine. 6-4. It's just not going to work at Mentor. That's not, and you missed the playoffs. I guess is the bigger thing. If you're 6-4 and you get in,
right. Yeah.
But you play such a hellacious schedule. No excuses, but. You talked to me a little earlier this summer. The guys know that that's just not going to fly at your place.
Yeah, they knew it. We started out in early December and set our goals and said that wasn't good enough. There's no excuse who you play. It doesn't matter if 2 and 3 were in the state finals. It doesn't matter. We're good enough. We got to be able to win those games, and we didn't last year, and we're going to work on that to get better at it this year.
Yeah, that included back-to-back games against the two teams that played in the state final. A road game at Euclid on a Thursday. So, I mean, there was all kinds of, 3 games in 12 days.
There was 3 and 12.
Yeah. Coach Steve Trevisano, the Mentor Cardinals, good enough to join us. Coach, you come into this year with some really talented guys, returners. Yep. But, as you always say, just because you still got to put in the work, you still got to go out and perform. But I think you've liked what you've seen so far this summer. Talk about the scrimmages so far.
So far, so good. I mean, we had a great offseason and then obviously turned it into the early August and a couple of scrimmages and did well over at Kenston with 3 or 4 teams over there. And then went down to Massillon, Jackson, and played real well on Friday after a long drive. So I was happy with that and like where we're at, but we got a long way to go. We got some good teams coming up.
And I know, I think everybody talks about your offense, and rightfully so. It's very potent. It's got a chance to average in the high 30s, 40s, depending on, and your quarterback is an experienced one now. He's a senior, yep. Tatis. But you got a lot of pieces, those guys on the outside. And just talk about your offense. What do you like about that?
Well, offensively, I think 10 of the guys have quite a bit of experience. I think there's 8 starters and 10 or 11 guys who have played in different spots. So got a lot of guys with a lot of experience back, so that makes it easier going into it. we were able to pick up where we left off and are able to be pretty advanced to where we're at. So, from that standpoint, we're in good shape, but they still got to keep getting better and working on what we need to do.
And then defensively, I know you said, you like the talent. They got some athletes, just some young guys got to kind of step up in some places.
Yeah, we're getting there. They played real well on Friday night and, had Massillon Jackson in the quarter and whatever we played. 3 and out just about every time but one. So it was a good first experience for them. And, they're young in some spots, but, no excuses. They got to keep going and developing and getting the experience they need.
Coach Steve Chivisano of the Mentor Cardinals, our first team up tonight. It is Varsity Chalk Talk, the season preview show. Thanks for joining us. And if you're listening on the podcast, again, you can get that through Facebook, SoundCloud, Twitter, or we actually have a YouTube channel with graphics. It's really cool. Mike Clark is doing a great job with that. Coach, let me know who you brought up with here. I guess
we'll
it's the six captains, right?
First one, you want just the first one?
Yeah, just the first one.
First one is Chris Edmond, our senior captain running back for us.
All right. Chris, thanks for coming up tonight. And,
no
let me ask you this. Being named a captain, I think people just gloss over that, the C's next to their name on the program. But I think at a place like Mentor, when you think about who's been a captain at that school, what does it mean to you to be named a captain?
So being a captain, to me, it just means, you have that extra responsibility. You just got to look out for guys, bringing the younger guys along because football is a team sport, and the more guys you can get going and buying into that team, you're going to be more successful.
What have you seen out of your teammates, yourself, the whole group in the summer? What do you like about what you've seen so far?
Well, we love to compete. There's a few times where, we're going ones-on-ones and it gets pretty heated, and I just love to see that competition.
So, Coach always talks about one of his quotes, and I really mean this. When I first started at the News Herald back in a long time ago, the first interview I ever did with him, he looked at me and he goes, because I asked him a silly question about the schedule, he goes, if we're not good enough in the regular season, then there's no point in going to the playoffs. How do you guys feel when a coach feels that confident in you that you're not going to run and duck and avoid really good teams? You're going to play all those good teams.
Right. So with our schedule, we play some tough teams, but like you say, that's no excuse. And, the competition in the regular season is just great for making deep runs in the playoff.
Appreciate it, man. Let's go ahead and pass that to your teammate. Next up. Yeah.
Tyler Schonauer. I play center. So.
Tyler,
senior.
One of the captains and a huge part of a really good offensive line. I said to Coach the other day, and I said to Coach Gray in the winter, man, you guys have a chance maybe to be one of the better ones they've had in a while, and that's saying something. Yeah. Talk about the offensive line.
We're a really solid, cohesive unit. We always hang out off the field. Those are my best buds, and I just think we're a really solid, good unit. And we work very well together. So.
Tyler, one thing I think is a misconception with Mentor, they run the spread and hurry up and they're just going to throw the ball 70 times. When you guys want to run and be physical, you can do that, and I think you did that pretty well against Massillon, if I read right. Talk about running the football this year.
Running the football, that's going to be a big thing for us. We're pretty big up front, and when we run it up the middle, we like to hit you right in the face. So we just love running up. So when we get the chance to do it.
At Massillon, home to Ignatius, Glenville, Euclid made the playoffs. I mean, you guys don't get much of a break to start this season.
No.
How much are you guys looking forward to that challenge?
It's right there at us, and it's the challenge if we're going to take it or are we going to step down from the plate. But I think we're ready to go. I mean, we've been working so hard up to this point, and it's ours to lose. So, yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Go ahead and pass that down. Thanks for being here. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Tadas Ernest, quarterback.
And Tadas, you are a experienced signal caller now. How comfortable are you in that position, let's say, this summer as opposed to a couple summers ago?
Definitely, I feel really comfortable, especially having the line that we have. I know that I won't be touched if they work their hardest, and we just got to keep building trust, and we'll be fine.
What can you tell me about your offense? I mean, obviously everybody knows you have the potential to score a lot of points in a hurry, do some good things, but just what do you like what you're seeing right now about the 2017 offense?
Yeah, I love that we play fast. We make a couple mental errors, but if we clean that up, we should be fine. I love that we're all more experienced, pretty much the same offense as last year. So if we just keep playing, we'll be fine. Now,
this is a new year, so I'm not going to beat up 2016, but I think it is important when you don't make the playoffs, does that give you a chip on the shoulder? Does the whole team come in a little more motivated this year?
Yeah, definitely leaves a bad taste in our mouth from last year. But, if we do what we do, there's nothing stopping us if we work hard every day.
Appreciate it, man. I'll see you soon. Okay. Mike, go ahead and introduce yourself for the podcast.
I'm Mike Warren, strong safety.
Mike, so talk to me a little bit about your defense. Everybody asks offense with Mentor, but when you look at the teams you guys play, you're going to have to stop people. Talk about this defense.
Well, we're running with 3 down linemen this year, so we have a lot of blitzes, a lot of fast players. We're small, but I think we fill the holes well and get it done.
What kind of confidence do you get? I understand it's a scrimmage, but it is the second scrimmage, and you're down on their turf. I mean, how nice was it to play as well defensively as you did against Jackson?
It was really nice. I think our offense did a good job keeping us off the field too long, and we were able to go 3 and out almost every time. So we did really good.
What would you say are the keys defensively? Is it just, getting off the field on third down? Is it no mistakes? What do you think you have to do?
I think we run a very complicated defense with a lot of moving parts. So if we all just know our job and execute, we'll be fine.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, man. Okay. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Dominic Shelley, linebacker.
Dominic, continuing on with the defense, do you feel like, what are the strengths on the defensive side? Is it speed? Is it athleticism? Is it experience? Is it strength? What would you say is the strength of the defense?
I'd say the strength of our defense is just how competitive we are. As a group, we just get after it, knowing we're not the biggest, strongest, fastest guys out there. We just go as hard as we can every play.
What did you learn from last year? Were there things that you can pick out of a season where you went 6-4? I mean, you did win some games at the end of the year. Did you pick out, was there some momentum gained from that?
I just feel like as a team, when we played as 11, as one team, we played a lot better. But when people were trying to do more than they should, when we play as a team, I feel like that's when we have our best chance to win.
What's the ceiling for this team? I mean, how good can you guys be in your opinion?
I feel we could be as good as we want to be. It depends on how hard we work at practice and how hard we get after it in the games. I feel like the sky's the limit for our team.
Appreciate it. Go ahead. Okay. Will, you might have to slide. I don't know if that's going to reach. All right. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Will Leganke, cornerback.
Will, you got some experience on this team doing a lot of different things. You're one of the more versatile players, I think. Talk about when Coach calls you to do something on offense, something on defense, something on I mean, do you feel like you can kind of fill in at any spot over there?
Yeah, I just kind of do whatever they tell me to do and give it all I got when I'm out there.
What that experience last year, to play a team like St. X who ended up winning the state title, and in my opinion, you had them beat except for a few questionable calls. Well, I mean, when you see that you can play against anybody in the state, does that give you confidence going into the following year?
Yeah, definitely. When we're up there with those big teams, I feel like if we work together as a team, we can really beat anyone in the area.
When you look at this team, what are going to be the keys to success? Is it just trying to get through that schedule? Because the schedule is so hard. When you get into the league, is it just taking care of business? What's the key to success this year?
I think it's our preparation. How we prepare for games, we work towards it. We just need to know our keys, do our job, do the little things.
Appreciate it, man. Let's bring Coach Triv back in. Coach Trevisano, the Mentor Cardinals. So, Coach, because we won't have you next week because of the Browns.
We got a week off.
We got a week off, so
right.
We won't get to talk to you before the Massillon game. So, just give me a little glimpse into what you think that is the key there. I would think getting off the bus down there is just not easy. I'm not going to accuse them of anything or the referees, but that's a tough place to play.
It always is, but it's a great place to play.
Oh, it's a great facility.
Every time we've been there, it's been an awesome game. It's a great experience. Man, if you're not ready to play getting off the bus at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium, then you're in the wrong game. We're excited. That's why we love the series, and that's why we play it and getting a chance to go down there and see how we compare with them.
Yeah. For the folks in Massillon, if they're listening to this podcast, I don't need any hate mail. There's nothing.
It was Bill Tilton.
Yeah, right. No, it is a very difficult, but it's a great home field advantage.
Awesome. Yep.
And they're a really good team. They came up last year. You were able to put up 56 on them. Without breaking down X's and O's, do you foresee another high-scoring game? Do they have a lot of athletes?
They always have a good team. I would say they might have rebuilt in this spot, but they always got a great football team. I really haven't seen them a lot yet, so I'll know a little bit more as we get through this weekend. But, they're always good and solid, well-coached football team, and great tradition. Those kids are going to play hard.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I appreciate you being
Thanks
here.
for
Thanks
having
so
us.
much. I'll see you out at the field in Saturday scrimmage. That should be fun. Appreciate it, Coach. Thanks so much. All right, that's the Mentor Cardinals. Coach Steve Trevisano. All right, NDCL, come on up, and then South is after that. NDCL, then South. I will get to everybody as quickly as I can. I do have 3 teams that have to go late tonight, so you won't be the last ones on, believe me. So NDCL on now, and South on deck. Mayfield is here. North is here. Madison here? I don't know if I've seen Madison yet. Coach, how are you? 7:15, so I'm only 3 minutes over. We're close, right? All right, so next up, one of the teams that had, what a year they had last year, after losing the first game of the year, ended up 7-3, went to the playoffs, won a couple of playoff games, and just, you would think that the program is just building. So I'm with Coach Mooney and the NDCL Lions. Coach, first of all, thanks for being here tonight.
Well, thanks for having us out.
So last year, I mean, listen, everybody wants to play 15 games and bring the big trophy, but to go, to do what you guys did, 9-4, and what does that do for your program, and what was the offseason like coming off of that kind of season?
Well, a season like we had last year just raised the expectations in the offseason. Last year, of course, it didn't finish the way we wanted to, but I told those guys at the end of the game to keep their heads held high every time that they walk by the trophy case and they see that trophy, to understand that putting that in there was a feat that no team in the history of NDCL, Cathedral Latin, had ever done. And so to go farther than any team had ever done, to play more games than anybody had ever had, is something they should really be proud of. And so it raised expectations to get back there and go even further.
Yeah, NDCL got into the playoffs as a 7 seed, folks, and won a road game at Crestwood, then beat Cardinal Mooney, and then lost a very low-scoring battle against Perry, who was 13-1, and it was just 2 really good local teams going at it. Coach, talk about this year's team. What do you like? What are the strengths? What are your kind of expectations about this group coming back?
Well, in my time at NDCL, this is the group that I've got the highest expectations of, because it's the group that I've had my entire time. When I came to NDCL as a freshman head coach 4 years ago, these were my freshmen right here. And so they know my ins and outs. I know their ins and outs. And so it's an exciting year. It's, these guys sitting next to me here, I love them like they're my own sons. And, I smack them upside the head, literally and figuratively sometimes, like they are. And it's a real big bond that we've got going on here. And so I've never been more excited to go into a season as a player or coach.
Coach Mooney and NDCL, the Lions coming off of a historic, as Coach said, 9-4 season. Coach, we'll get into the first game of the year in just a minute, but why don't you tell me who you brought up with you tonight?
I've got our 4 captains here, 4 senior captains, Zach Zienka, Matt Toohey, Manny Malone, and Josh Baroni.
All right, go ahead and pass that microphone down. Guys, do me a favor, for podcast purposes, so people, when they listen to this, they know who's talking, just introduce yourself, name your position.
Zachary Zienka, safety, tight end.
Zach, I asked one of the mentor guys, I want to ask a couple of you, what does it mean to you to be named a captain? I don't think that's just a throwaway title. I think that's important to some guys, and I think in high school, maybe as much as any sport, football captain, because there's a lot of responsibilities with that.
You're exactly right. I think it's very humbling and very honored to be captain.
Last year was so special, but you want to even go further. You want to do better. What was the offseason like? What was the motivation like this year?
Coach Mooney just pushing us, driving us to build higher expectations, but he also reminds us that we put a target on our back with how far we went last year.
Talk to me, if you can, a little bit about the strengths of this team. What do you like when you see this team, whether it's in the weight room or whether it's in the huddle or whether it's on the practice field or whether it's in the scrimmages? What are the things that you like that you've seen out of NDCL so far?
I really like how we're gelling as a family, building our chemistry, really just the family aspect of how we play as one. We're one team together.
Appreciate it, man. Go ahead and pass that down. Guys, make sure you keep the mic real close to you, okay? Next captain for NDCL?
Matt Toohey, defensive back and wide receiver.
Matt, tell me a little bit about, let's start on offense. What are some of the strengths? What are some of the keys to being successful and moving the football for you guys this year?
We got a lot of returning guys this year. Our quarterback, Charles Forbes, coming back. And offensive line coming back. Austin Craver, one of our seniors, really stepping up this year.
Let's go to the other side of the ball on defense. Obviously, I mean, the most impressive thing about last year is, Perry was averaging 40 whatever points. You held him to 22. Mooney usually scores 30 in their sleep. You held him to 12. Can you see that defensive effort just building on what you guys did last year?
Yeah. One of our mottos is stop the run and no big plays. So every practice we don't want to give up any big plays, and we want to continue what we had last year and just feed off that and be a powerful defense.
You guys want to go further than you went last year. How do you accomplish that? What are the keys? I know Coach is probably going to say we got to win week 1. Don't worry about the playoffs. But what's the key to kind of repeating last year's success?
You just got to be strong on both sides of the ball. I think our coaches are preparing us for that, and it all starts with both sides of the ball. So I think we're going to have a good season.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming up tonight. We'll see you again this year for sure. All right, next up for NDCL.
How's it going? Manny Malone. I'm a linebacker and a running back.
So talk to me, if you can, about the expectations got to be off the chart right now. How do you guys kind of deal with that? Is there added pressure for you this season?
When I first started high school, we were the typical underdogs. And now that the bar set high expectation, the practice got to be high tempo, very competition, a lot of competition on both sides of the ball. We got a lot of guys going on both sides of the ball, so the tempo is real high. And we just, we get on each other's nerves, but that's good because we're brothers at the end of the practice.
Playing in the league that you play in with, Lake and Hoban, Pato was going to be better this year. I mean, how much does that prepare you when you got to go through that grind of the conference, prepare you for the postseason?
We prepare a lot, and it's nothing new to us. We face them every year. Nothing we're afraid to face, and nothing we can't beat.
Keys to success this year. Is it just a matter of, not worrying about what everybody on the outside is saying, kind of staying within yourself? Talk to me about what's got to happen.
I think a major key is just focusing 1 week at a time on each team we play, focusing on their keys, what they do, and how we can stop that.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks so much. Pass that down. That works. Next up for NDCL.
Josh Peroni, defensive back, running back.
Josh, this is it's a team that obviously has a lot of confidence, and it should after last year. But is it important to kind of hang on to that line between being confident and overconfident? Talk about just playing with confidence but not overlooking any opponents.
Well, definitely we need to play with confidence, but obviously not get overconfident. I think that, being a team that had never really been there before last year, I think that we need to bring the belief that we can get back there this year. And I think that is where the confidence should come from, but obviously not get overconfident.
What about some strengths? When you look at this team, not on paper, but when you see your guys in practice and in scrimmages, what do you like about this team right now?
I think our biggest strength is our linebacking core. We have 3 returning starters, and there's some hard-nosed kids that they run, they fly around, they make plays in the pass game, the run game. They're incredible. So I think they're our biggest strength going into the season.
Important to get off to a fast start, or is that not all that concerning? Because, like I said, last year you lose the first game and then you rip off, 7 of 9. So
definitely we want to get off to a fast start, build up some confidence for later in the season and get some momentum, going into conference play because of how tough our conference is and how tough our region is.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming out tonight. Coach, why don't you jump back on here with Coach Mooney and the NDCL Lions. Second up tonight on the kickoff show here on Varsity Chalk Talk. Reminder, folks, you can get the podcast a variety of ways, from SoundCloud to Facebook to Twitter, and now we have a YouTube channel as well where there'll be graphics that go along with the sound. Coach, since I won't have you next week because of the Browns, the matchup with South, it's become this really good traditional week 1 rivalry, and it seems like it goes back and forth. You win a game, they win a game. Last year they won at your place. This year you go over, they got brand new turf. Talk to me about this football game.
I mean, it's definitely an exciting one for me and my staff, and I hope these guys too. That very few got away from us last year, and this was one of them. And we definitely like to get it back, but it's been a hard-fought fight every year. My first year as a head coach, we combined to score almost 100 points. It was like almost 90 points combined. And so it's one of those that it might just turn into, who has the ball last.
You like starting out with these tough games? They're local. I wouldn't call them a rivalry per se, but I like that teams don't have to go way out and play somebody 90 miles away. I mean, do you like scheduling these kind of games?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because like you said, playing in the NCL Blue, We're if not the smallest, we're very, very close to being the smallest in that blue division. And it's really a black and blue division. And so these games prepare us for what we know is going to be a tough conference schedule, and a conference that I think we've shown that we can hold our own in.
Well, Coach, guys, I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for coming out tonight. I promise you this won't be the last time you see me. We're going to get you out in a couple Mondays. Good luck this year, okay? Coach, thanks so much. All right, that's Coach Mooney and NDCL. Next up, Coach Duff and the Rebels. Come on, South. Then we have Mayfield, Madison, North is here. Lake Catholic will be in our at the end of the first hour. They will not be our anchor team tonight. They will not be last. So, Lake, you guys will not have to wait till the end, I promise. What's up, Coach? All right, so we just got done talking about NDCL at South, new facility, new turf, and we do have the Rebels here with us, and it is Coach Matt Duffy. They are here pretty much every week, every Monday for God knows how many years, so I always appreciate their support. Coach, how are you tonight, man?
I'm good, Bill. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for coming up, guys. And, Coach, last year I'm almost going to repeat my question verbatim that I said to Coach Trevisano, which was, you said it to me in your office, so I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. I think you used the term unacceptable, or you're not going to just accept mediocrity, is I think what you said. 5-5 for the Rebels, just not going to cut it. And what's great about that is your guys understand that, and I think they grasp that concept. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no question about it. Over the years, and these kids have been around the program, coming through 7th and 8th grade and seeing the Rebels, play, compete for championships in the conference and get into week 11. And, I think they're buying in. Kids are working really hard, and they understand that we've got to take week by week, but got to win football games. And I think we have the kids that can do that. So I'm excited to, kind of let them loose next Friday night and see what happens.
Absolutely. Coach Duffy from South has been good enough to join us, and he's brought up some of his guys. We're going to get to them in a second. Coach, we're not going to beat up or belabor last season, so we're on to 2017. You got a lot of things, reason for excitement. The new turf, I know you said, has energized the guys. You can practice over there in 2-a-days. Some new faces. You lose a couple of really good seniors from last year, but you got some new guys that are really talented. Just talk about the fresh start and coming into 2017.
Well, I think the biggest thing each year is, and especially this year because we've got a larger senior class, is, do the seniors become seniors? And that's a big deal. Kids just become different young men when that year happens. So we need to get all of them on board. And these guys sitting next to me and some of the other guys over there, seniors have to become seniors and become really good football players from being maybe average or above average. And if that development happens for each of our kids, then we have a chance, to be strong.
Coach, the two scrimmages that you've had against some really, really good football teams, talk a little bit about what you saw, the things you like, and maybe just a few things, you're going to obviously have to work on over the next 11 days.
Well, I think the biggest thing is overcoming adversity. In the first scrimmage we had in Ordonia, we were having success on both sides of the ball and obviously some tough times. And then Aurora came Saturday, a really good football team, and, more adversity. And I don't think we did a good enough job of overcoming that. So that's something we're working hard on here in the next couple of days to get ready for Westlake. But it's a learning process. That's the first time this senior class has had an opportunity to kind of get punched in the mouth a little bit. And I maybe am not 100% happy with how we responded. But at the same time, we had kids playing hard, getting after it a little bit, and we had some bad breaks. But hopefully we can settle in a little bit. We actually go Wednesday this week. So we only got a couple days to kind of fix the things. But more importantly than anything, you're not worried about points in a scrimmage. You're worried about how your kids react to that. And I feel good about my kids. I feel good about them, and I think we'll be okay coming into this scrimmage.
It's the South Rebels, Coach Matt Duffy. They're coming off a 5-5 year, but as Coach said, they're not used to that there, so don't expect them to be around that mid-level for very long. They're in such a competitive, Coach, I feel not just your league, but that Division II, Region 5, we've had multiple conversations about that. There's nothing easy about trying to crack that top 8. If you get in there, you've earned it.
Yeah, no question. I think, two things you hit on are our first 3 games are good, solid games, and then the conference is brutal.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think there'll be some teams that maybe have not perennial been in that race for a conference title. I think they'll become a part of it. And, it's a dogfight. There are going to be a lot of coin flips and hard-fought battles, but the goal is to win a conference and play in Week 11. Give your kids a chance. and that's the way we're looking at it.
Coach, I want you to introduce the guys you brought up tonight.
I've got Luke Marino as our Mike linebacker, our will linebacker for us. Next to him is Jared Newsom, also a senior. He's our Mike linebacker. Both those guys played for us last year. Connor Asher's another returning starter. He's a veteran offensive lineman, played some center and left tackle. He's a senior. And then next to him, Steven DeSanio, who started for us on defense last year, but is our starting quarterback. Good group of young men and great leaders of our football team.
Let's go ahead and get these guys on and get them involved. Just for a podcast so they know who's talking when they listen in, go ahead and introduce yourself again.
Hi, I'm Luke Marino, middle linebacker.
Luke, talk to me about this team, 2017. Obviously, last year didn't go the way you guys wanted, but I'm not going to beat up on that. Just talk about coming in, a fresh start, and what do you like about this group?
I think this group's a lot hungrier than the group last year. I think we have a different mentality, a lot more aggression. More guys wanting to play, a lot more depth, too. Like Duff said, a larger senior class. So a lot more competition, driving harder two-a-day practices, and just more aggressive mentality across the board.
When you look at the defense, and obviously at South, I think people know you're going to put up points. I mean, this offense has done that for 15 years. There's no reason it won't do it this year.
Right.
What do you guys need to do defensively to slow some teams down?
We definitely need to get off the ball. We need to align correctly. We need to execute. I think our biggest problem right now is just playing physical. We just need to align, execute, and just do what we need to do.
It's a big challenge to open the year with some of the teams that you do before you even get into the league, and obviously with the way Chardon played last year, Brush, right. Some other schools. Talk about your schedule and just trying to get off to that good start.
You lead off with a non-conference game, so really just want to get off to a good start there. We had some success against some of those teams in the past, and we need to do a better job of getting those non-conference games into dubs, and really just have the success that we need to get us momentum carrying us into the conference games.
So real quick, I got to ask, unless I have my information incorrect, you're a pretty smart individual, are you not?
Yes, sir.
And what'd you get on your ACT?
36.
36. What's the highest possible score on the ACT?
36.
36 out of 36. Yes, sir. Congratulations.
Thanks.
You got plans after football, after high school? Is it Harvard? Where are you going?
I want to try to go in MIT if they'll accept me, but looking to be an aerospace engineer.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. I just thought
Thanks.
that was worth mentioning, man. That's a great accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Pass that down. Next up, go ahead.
My name is Jared Newsom. I'm middle linebacker and wide receiver.
So talk a little bit about, like I asked Luke, just defensively, what are the strengths? What are the things you like that you've seen out of your defense?
Defensively this year, I think our guys were ready to hit. We got to read our keys good, and the guys are hungry this year. Our defense is looking good. We got some new guys stepping up, younger guys that are going to help us out on defense. We're looking good defensively.
I feel like, I get a football team as both sides of the ball, but with your offense and the ability to score points in a hurry, does that help your defense because you don't have to go into a game shutting the team out, right?
Helps our defense because then we get a break and then come back out. It's good.
Keys to this season. We're going to be here every Monday. If the South Rebels are going to have a good 2017, what's got to happen?
We got to be able to pass the ball well, and our defense has to be sound defensively.
All right, appreciate it, man. Go ahead and pass that down. Next up for the Rebels?
Connor Asher's offensive line, defensive line.
So, obviously, we want you to talk about the O-line because those guys never get any spotlight or credit. Tell me about this group up front.
We actually have a lot of returners. I think 4 of them, 3 of them are starting. We have a lot of depth at the offensive line, so it helps.
Coach had mentioned to me, I talked to him in his office last week about depth and having a lot of guys are going to make an impact. In other words, instead of just pointing to one guy saying he's got to carry the load. Talk about the depth on this football team.
We have a lot of depth at all depth positions, especially the offensive line and defensive line. Because we're running a 4 front this year, and we have at least 7 or 8 guys who can rotate in. In the offensive line, we probably have 8 or 9 who can rotate, so it helps a lot.
The 2 scrimmages against 2 good football teams, what have you seen so far out of your guys?
Well, I thought we had a much better scrimmage against Nordonia. And Aurora, we just had a lot of missed assignments, and stuff just went wrong.
Appreciate it, man. Go ahead and pass that down. Next up, go ahead.
Steven DeSanio, I'm quarterback.
So you, my friend, have the toughest, maybe one of the toughest positions in Lake County, because playing quarterback at South, the line, I'm not going to try and list them all. What's that like stepping into that position at South?
It's going to be a good experience for me. All my life I've played quarterback, but these past couple of years I've been bouncing all over the place. So it's good to get back to where I've been my entire life.
What do you learn from, and I know Coach works with the quarterbacks, but not just Coach Duffy, playing behind somebody like Fetty, you know what I mean? Did you learn while you were waiting your turn to get to be the starting quarterback?
Of course, I'm always watching Fetty. I mean, last year, we go to Indy, I'm always watching his feet work. I'm always watching what he's doing. It's coaching myself to be a better.
Do you feel that this offense has a chance to be every bit as good as it's been in the past? Talk about the strengths of the offense.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think a big strength of this year is we have tons of depth at wide receiver. The past couple of years, and then coming to see now, it's just crazy how much more bodies and more fresh people we can get in and get going. But once we get in, I think offensively, once we get in our groove, we're unstoppable.
Appreciate it, man. Good luck to you this year. Go ahead, Coach Duff, grab that mic. We'll get you on real quick. Then we'll get to some more guys, and I think we're just going to stay in the league for a little while here. Coach Duffy from the South Rebels. Coach, since we won't have you next week because of the Browns, talk to me about week one. I know you're excited to show everybody the new turf at Harry Winters, but a very good NDCL team that you just heard them up here. A lot of confidence, won 9 football games last year. Talk about that first week.
Well, it's obviously big. We've kind of looked back last year. We got them in a really tight game, and they had gotten us the year before. So it's always been a very competitive week one. We're happy that it's at our place, and they come out. The stadium's gorgeous. The kids enjoy it. But, week one is very important, obviously. And, it plays a role in many different things, confidence of your kids and obviously postseason type of things. But our kids are locked in. We haven't paid much attention to them yet. But we actually scrimmage Wednesday, which will give us another day to kind of prepare for them. And well coached. They've got some good-looking kids. We saw them against the Wildcats a couple days ago. We just went and sat and watched just to kind of see them on the hoof. And it's a big game. And, a game where I think our community will be out strong, and they always have a great following, so it should be exciting week one football here in Willoughby.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a great game. The turf is beautiful, and good luck this season. Guys, thanks so much for coming up, and I'll see you on the 28th when we're back after the Browns game. Coach, thanks so much. I'll be talking to you.
Thanks, Billy.
All right, that's Coach Duffy from South. Appreciate him coming up, and the Rebels. Coach Bandera, and then we got Madison and North. We're going to rip through. We're going to rip through the WRC here. Coach is by himself, so this won't take very long. And then Madison and then North, we'll get to you guys in just a second here. All right.
Hi, Bill.
Coach, how are you, man?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. All right, next up on the Varsity Chalk Talk preview show, it is Coach Ross Bandera from the Mayfield Wildcats. And, Coach, thanks so much for being here tonight. And, like I said to a couple of the other ones, you guys are so used to having so much success and running to the playoffs and doing all that. So last year, 4-6, obviously, a tough year against a very good schedule. But I know you too well. You're not going to make excuses. What did you and your guys learn about yourselves from last year?
The big thing that we took away from last year was accountability and quarterback play. We need a quarterback that can run the offense and take care of the ball, and we just want to hold our kids more accountable, and that's what we started doing this off season. And I think things are going pretty well so far. It's our first day of school tomorrow, Bill, so the seniors all have to get Chromebooks tonight.
Oh, no, that's fine.
That's why I didn't bring anyone, but next week we'll have someone.
Actually, having one with just the coach will work, because with all these kids, I need to break the time down a little bit. So,
definitely.
Coach Bandera, the Mayfield Wildcats coach, what have you seen out of your guys this summer, whether it be 2-a-days, whether it be 7-on-7s, or whether it be the scrimmages? What have you seen out of the Wildcats that's leading you towards some positive vibes?
Our defense has been playing pretty good. They got an experienced group back on defense. So we're pretty excited about our defense right now. And our offense is going to be a little young. Guys that maybe played defense last year haven't played yet on varsity. But we're getting better every day on offense as well. We were pretty happy with our takeaway from the Hudson scrimmage. We pretty much played them 0-0 in a pretty lengthy varsity scrimmage.
Coach Bandera from Mayfield is joining us. Coach, why don't you just give us some keys, offensively, defensively, if you want to give us a couple key players. Just let us know what we should look for this year.
Sure. We have a few offensive linemen, Anthony Finaro and Yanni Saris, that are kind of returning starters, players, if you will. Didn't really start last year, but played. Jake Dostal, our quarterback, is going to be a senior this year. He'll be playing full-time for us. And then a few of our receivers, Sammy Guarini and Bobby Casey, have a chance to make some explosive plays. We'll have a few new running backs, kind of by committee right now. And defensively, we got a pretty good group coming back of guys that played last year with some experience. We had fortunate to have a move in, Tyler Tiggs from down in Dayton, come up and play outside linebacker for us. So we're looking for some good things on the defense side of the ball.
Coach, the opener, talk a little bit about week one and just, maybe give us a little sketch. You're not going to give me game plan or X's and O's, but talk about your opener and how important that game is.
It's always important to get off on the right foot, especially in high school football where every game's so important. But Walsh Jesuit, everyone says they're down, but we saw them scrimmage on Saturday, and they're not down. They play a very difficult schedule and a very difficult conference, and they're very fast on defense, and they have a ball control offense. So we have our hands full the first 3 weeks of the season on our non-conference schedule, that's for sure, with Massillon Jackson and then Nordonia.
Coach, give me a couple of keys to the year. Health, I would think, is big for everybody, but is it young guys maybe playing? Is it maybe a couple guys you weren't counting on, kind of jumping off the film page? What are you looking for this year?
We had a pretty good freshman class last year, so our sophomores are going to need to kind of fill some backup roles, and if they could do that and spell some of our starters on offense and defense, that should create some depth. And then, we're of the mindset, defense first, special team second, and offense third. So we have to take care of the ball on offense and take our shots when we feel like we have them. But our defense is going to win us football games this year.
Well, Coach, I always appreciate you coming out, and we will see you again soon. I promise. The 28th we'll be back full time. If it obviously if it doesn't work out every week, but we'll definitely have you and the Wildcats back up
appreciate
here. Okay.
You, thank you very much,
Coach.
Bill.
That's Coach Bandera for Mayfield. And we are in the WRC. This is the Varsity Chalk Talk kickoff preview show. And right after Madison is the North Rangers. Coach Dodd and his guys are here waiting patiently. We will get them up immediately. And then Lake Catholic will be after that. So we're staying in conference, in the WRC, I should say. And we are with the Madison Blue Streaks now, another team who has been loyal supporters of our show, has been here just about every Monday for going on 7 or 8 years. You guys got enough room? You good? Okay. All right, and with me is one of my guys who I've known from my time way back at the News Herald. It's Coach Willis. Coach, how are you, man?
Another year.
Another year. It's been a while.
Yes.
Hopefully the offseason went well. The family's good and all that stuff. So, Coach, similar question to asking Coach Duffy. Similar question to what I asked Coach Trevisano was, there are certain teams in this area that you almost just traditionally every year, they're going to be in the playoffs or they're going to be right there. So 5-5 for Madison. You guys have had so much success. I would have to believe, words like unacceptable and motivated. Talk about what you've been telling your guys this offseason.
Well, these guys know they know that that's unacceptable, and we've had a great offseason. I can tell you that. We've had guys. There's certain years you have guys that show up. Certain guys, here and there. This year we've had our attendance in the weight room, our attendance in practice has been outstanding, and again, it's a good group of kids and. A lot of times that equates to good things, down the road. So, when you get kids that work hard, good things will happen.
Coach, talk to me about the 2017 Blue Streaks and maybe just some characteristics, some traits, some strengths. What have you seen in the summer, in the scrimmages? What do you see that you like about this team?
Well, like I said, they work really hard. They practice really hard. What has to happen with us is we have a very good senior group, and we got a very good sophomore group. So those sophomores got to grow up a little bit, and some of them are going to be playing this year. So, starting with our quarterback. So, if we get those guys to progress, and we got a very good supporting cast of guys right here. A lot of them from the past years. I think we're going to be all right.
What can you tell me just quickly about the schedule? And I know last year that rivalry, the neighborhood thing, and it was just kind of shocked everybody. Didn't really go your way. I guess what I'm getting at is the conference is brutal, and you want to set the tone out right. So how much emphasis are you guys putting on week 1 against Geneva?
That's been big for us. Obviously it didn't go our way last year, and that doesn't happen very often, believe me.
Right.
So as far as going over, Geneva's got to come to our place, and we've been working all year to make that different. And like you said, the non-conference games for us, I believe we got to be 3-0 going into it. So that means beating not only Geneva, Lakeside, and Perry. And that's no easy task. But that's what we got to do, and it's very simple.
Coach, Tim Willis and the Madison Blue Streaks good enough to join us. Coach, who'd you bring up here with you tonight?
I got all our these are our captains for this year. So a good group of kids who have earned that position. Seth Schrock right here, he's an outside linebacker and fullback. We have Mark Primer, who's a offensive tackle and DN. We have Clay Smith, who's our center. We have Kenny Klein, who's a tailback. And Cam Cato is our wide receiver and defensive back.
He's got a fan club.
Yeah, I think
like
fan club, yeah.
All right, let's get these guys in here. Go ahead.
How you doing?
Good. How are you? Just for so that people can listen on the podcast and they know who we're talking to, just introduce yourself again.
My name's Seth Strock. I play outside linebacker and fullback.
So tell me a little bit about. I'm not going to beat up last year, but obviously at Madison, you're just not used to being a 5-5 football team.
No.
What do you guys take out of a year like that? How much motivation did you have coming into this
so
season?
much harder this year. Our leaders are stepping up a lot this year. Young pups are stepping up a lot. We're just working a lot harder this year.
Defensively, let's start on your side of the ball. What do you like about this defense? What are the strengths? What have you seen?
We're fast. Our DNs are pretty fast. Mark Prime right here is pretty fast. Yeah, we're very fast defense.
Overall, because I'm going to get you guys, plenty of Mondays, maybe not everyone, but if you're going to have a successful season, if 2017 is going to go well for Madison, what's got to happen? What are some keys?
I'm sorry?
If it's going to go well this year, if you're going to have a good season, what are the keys to success?
Flying around to the ball. I think that's key for us.
Sometimes it's not that complicated, right? Just get after
Fly
the ball.
around.
I like it. All right, go ahead and pass that microphone down. Next up, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Mark Primer, left tackle and DN.
So Mark comes from a very athletic family. That I know for sure. Is there any more after him? This is it. He'll be sad when he goes because it's been nothing but producers over there. Mark, just talk about that, actually, being around the Madison football program for a long time, seeing your brothers. I mean, how has that been for you?
Well, I mean, always watching them play made me really want to play, and I love the game. So that helps me always get through things. Whenever it gets hard, I just think of how much fun I have.
Last year didn't go well. We know that. We're not going to talk about that anymore. But talk about motivation coming into this year and wanting to get back to where you guys are used to being.
Well, obviously being 5-5 fuels us a lot. Anytime I'm feeling like it's hard, all we have to do is think about last season, and that's enough to get us through anything.
What have you seen throughout the summer and the scrimmages that you like about this team? What are some of the positives right now?
A lot of young kids who work hard, and they get after it on scout team, and they have habits that you usually don't develop until your junior or senior year, and that's a really good thing.
Appreciate it, man. Go ahead and pass that down. All right, next up for Madison.
Clay Smith, center.
Clay, the offensive line at Madison I mean, you know if you're playing that position, you're following in some big footsteps. Talk about this year's offensive line.
I mean, we have four seniors start on the line right now. We got one young kid, but we've been really coming together good.
Physicality, I mean, Madison's always a physical team. Doesn't mean you can't throw the ball or run some trick stuff, but I think any team in that league that wants to line up and just smash mouth with somebody, it's you guys. Talk about playing physical football this year.
I mean, we've been working hard to figure out the physicality, and we saw that in Twinsburg. We need to work on a little more, I think.
This season, to try and get that bad taste out of your mouth from last year. It's important to get off to a good start. I'm sure there's got to be some extra pep in your step for Geneva because they got you last year, right?
Yes, definitely.
What about the league? Do you guys feel like you're the kind of team that can contend for the conference championship this year? Can you contend for a WRC title this year?
Yeah, I mean, it's anyone's game, but really I feel like we are a contender, definitely. Yes.
Appreciate it. Go ahead and pass that down. Next up, introduce yourself.
Ken Klein, running back and DB.
Talk, if you can, just quickly, the offseason. Do you feel like there was more that went into the offseason because of how 2016 ended?
Yeah, we were putting in a lot more work in the weight room and just doing a lot more to bring the team together and be a better team this year.
As a running back, talk about running behind Clay and some of those guys up front. How nice is that to have that kind of line?
Oh, man, they're doing great. We just need to be more physical, and we'll get down the field. We'll just keep running the ball.
So far, a couple of scrimmages, some two-a-days. What do you like that you've seen out of this team so far?
The team is very hardworking. We like to come out and work every single day, and it's just great to have a team like that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead and pass the microphone over. My fault. Want to make sure everybody gets their 3 questions. Next up for Madison.
Cam Cato, play a wide receiver and defensive back.
So we're talking about physicality and running the ball, but as a wide receiver, talk about the passing game and what you've seen. Do you feel that you guys can be a successful passing team this year?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of trust in our sophomore quarterback, Dragas. He showed a lot of improvement throughout the years. He's handling well. I mean, he's shown that he can play this year. But I think, we're a physical running team. If we block, we're going to get those opportunities to pass the ball because we're going to run it down their throat.
Because of how competitive the conference is, how important is the non-conference for you guys to put yourself in a position? How important are those first 3 weeks for you?
First 3 weeks? Oh, every week's important. We prepare the same way for every week. It's a grind. Our coaches are on us every time. Running the ball to the line, making sure we finish every play strong. It's Perry week, Geneva week, Lakeside week. We all play the same. We all get the same effort, no matter who we're playing.
So if you're going to be successful, if you guys are going to have a good season, what are the keys? What's got to happen for Madison to be good this year?
I think, a lot of us have potential to, do anything we want. This team's going to work hard. I think, we came as a freshman class. We were under, we didn't have a great record, but as a team, this senior group, we came to become brothers. It's a band of brothers, It's a lot of work ethic with this team. We had a lot of ups and downs. I think it's finally our year to show what Madison football is all about.
Appreciate it, man. Good job. Good answers. Let's bring this back to Coach Willis. Madison, we're going to wrap this up. Coach, because we won't be here next week because of the Browns, let me ask you about week 1. I think we've already hit on the motivation. I don't think you're going to need a big rah-rah speech. It's a neighborhood game. They beat you last year. Talk to me about playing Geneva and playing at your place.
Well, it's all about us. It's not about them, really. It's about us doing what we're supposed to do, about us, our assignments, our alignments, our, if we do those things, we're going to be fine, Last year we got in a situation where we fumbled the ball twice going in, did dumb things. So, it's all about us focusing on us, and we're getting better at the little things because the little things are what make you better.
Well, guys, I appreciate you coming all the way out. Always appreciate your time. We will definitely see you again on hopefully Monday the 28th, talking about a win over Geneva. So enjoy the next week, and good luck in week 1, all right?
All
Coach,
right,
thanks so much. I appreciate it. That's the Madison Blue Streaks. Good job, guys. Coach Dodd, come on up. All right, so we're rounding out the first hour. We got the North Rangers, and then Lake Catholic will be next. After Lake, we have Euclid, we have VASJ, and we have Brush. All right, next up, a guy that I know for a while, taught me how to play receiver, taught himself how to do it better than me, but that's all right. He is at his alma mater, and they are coming off of a 4-6 season with a couple games that certainly could have went either way, and I'm talking about the North Rangers. Coach Sean Dodd. Coach, how are you tonight, man?
Doing well, Bill. Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for coming out and for being patient. Coach, 4-6, you and I had a really nice talk in your office the other day, and, the wins and losses is what people measure things by, but as a coach, someone who's around the team who sees the bigger picture, I think you can see that things are on the definite uptick at that program. What did you get out of 2016 with these guys?
They were close. You're right. We are measured by the wins and losses, and unfortunately, that hasn't worked out the way we had hoped and that we've kind of worked towards. But we do see that we are heading in the right direction, and part of the off season that the boys have had.
Coach Dodd and the North Rangers, good enough to join us. Coach, so every coach in here has to put last year away, whether you win a state title or you go 0-10. So you put 2016 away, and now it's 2017. Fresh start, some new faces. I know you lose, a couple of really talented kids, but you got a ton of talent back. Just tell me about the 2017 Rangers.
First, it all starts with their off season. These guys have really committed, not just this past off season, but the first year that we came in, and they've really worked hard and embraced the changes that we've tried to make in the program and the direction that we're heading. And they've had a great summer, and we're just excited to see what we have out there week one.
Coach, you've been able to go through a couple of scrimmages now, a good part of the summer. What have you seen? What's kind of the positives out of what you've seen the last couple of weeks?
It all starts with the character. We have great kids, and they're really bonding as a team, and that's a good thing to see. And we were a little shorthanded here and there in a couple of the scrimmages, but it was nice to see some of the younger guys step up. It's really easy to make excuses when you're in those types of situations, but none of our guys did that, and they responded really well, and I'm really proud of that.
Coach Dodd and the North Rangers, this is the Varsity Chalk Talk season preview. Again, folks, if you want to listen to the podcast, check us out, SoundCloud, a YouTube channel, Facebook, or I will tweet it out. My Twitter is @RealChalkTalk. Coach, who'd you bring up here with you tonight?
We have cornerback Luis Severino, center nose guard Joe Ginter, quarterback Jake Tansky, and defensive back Tyler Dodd.
All right, let's get these guys in here, and we'll bring you back at the end. Guys, for the podcast, just so they know who we're talking to, just introduce yourself again.
Luis Severino. I'm a senior wide receiver and corner.
Lou, you had, because I get the stats every week from Coach, you had a very good season in 2016. How do you feel about carrying that over to 2017?
Just trying to trust the process, and we've had a great offseason. Just got to trust my coaches and see where it goes from there.
Last year 4-6, but I could point to a couple games that obviously could have went the other way. How close do you guys feel you are to not only going over the hump, but really being a contender in the league?
I think we've made the jump in the off season. It's so hard to judge a season off just the record. I thought we had a really good year last year, and every game was really close. Could have went either way.
So now you come into 2017. Some returners, but also some new faces. That beautiful new stadium turf. How nice is that? But what are your expectations? I could tell by talking to you, it's a confident group. You think you guys are ready to take that next step. What are your expectations for this year?
First, trying to make the playoffs, trying to win the conference. All those things are big goals, but I think we're capable of reaching them. We got a really good senior group. They take leadership, and we got a really good lower class coming up soon.
Appreciate it, man. Go ahead and pass that down. Next up, introduce yourself.
Joe Ginter, center and nose guard.
Joe, make sure you hold that close to you so we can hear you, okay? Joe, talk to me about the trenches, the guys up front, because usually we get so wrapped into quarterbacks and receivers and running backs. Tell me about the offensive and defensive lines.
We got a lot of big guys, big, strong guys. Very physical.
Yeah, you would qualify as one of those, I would guess. So talk to me about the off-season program and the weight room. Coach said he loves the work ethics and seeing you guys. The cliche is you guys look the part. When you walk out onto the field, North looks like a football team that's got some big dudes. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we've been lifting every single day of the off-season, just grinding.
Keys to this year, if it's going to be successful, what's got to happen for North?
You got to be physical up front and just stay calm. Make sure everything goes, All
right, appreciate it. Go ahead and pass that down. All right, next up, I've had him up here several times. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Jake Tansky. I'm a quarterback.
Jake had a really good year last year, comes into this season. Coach says he thinks you're a little underrated. Does it bother you that other quarterbacks in the area get talked about?
Nah, not at all.
Good answer. Talk to me about this offense. What do you like about this offense that you've seen so far?
I like that we're slowing things down, and we got a really strong receiving core with a lot of guys coming back. We got a lot of young guys who are willing to step up when we need them to.
Jake, now having started a year, having that experience, how comfortable are you in running this offense? Do you feel a little bit more in control, say, than like your first year?
Yeah, I mean, I felt in control last year as well. Yeah, this year the offense is more slowed down. It just seems more comfortable for me.
What do you feel the ceiling is? What's the potential of this football team this year?
Oh, we're able to score 40 points a game on anybody, I think.
Good answer. All right, man, go ahead and pass that down. Coach Bednar, I'm not sure he enjoyed that answer, but go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Tyler Dodd, defensive back.
Tyler, you're one of the guys on the team. Your name comes up all over the stat sheet. You know, you do a little bit on offense. You had a really good year defensively. Talk about playing a lot of positions and having your name called a lot like that. Do you like being versatile? Do you like playing a lot of positions?
Yeah, because if we have holes somewhere in our offense or defense, I like that I can step up in anywhere.
This team, compared to last year at this same time, where do you think the improvements have come from last year to this year?
Definitely knowing the plays and starting to know like our depth charts and stuff like that.
Expectations, just what are the keys this year for North? What's got to happen to have a successful season?
Establish our run game. Our run game will open up our pass a lot more.
And, I mean, how good can this team be? I feel like the confidence level seems like it's very high right now. How good can this team be, in your opinion?
This would be the best team to come through North, in my belief.
All right, bring it on down. And we are with the North Rangers on Varsity Chalk Talk. It is Coach Dodd. Coach, first I got to ask you about the turf, man. It is... You played on that grass. I played on it. You've coached on it. You try and get through 2-a-days, and God knows if it rains on a Tuesday, the Friday might not go well. It's got to be a game changer for you guys over there.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It all starts with our school district and our community to get that levee to pass, and both us and Willoughby South to be able to get the new stadiums, the new turf. It's beautiful, and it's really brought a lot of excitement and enthusiasm, not just our program, but the community and the school in general. You look at the youth leagues, soccer, boys and girls soccer, be able to play on it, lacrosse. It's been a very, very great addition to our community.
Coach, since we won't have you next week because of the Browns, tell me about week one. Now, all I can tell anybody out there is if you just go by general history, North Westlake has been one whale of a football game 2 years in a row. I know you have utmost respect for Coach Hall, as do I. Westlake, talk to me about that.
I tell you what, he's done an amazing job with Westlake. And, yeah, you look at the last two seasons, both games came down literally to the last play of the game with the game-winning field goal, with each team converting one over the last two seasons. So that's what you hope for. You hope to play in games like that, and hopefully we can come out on the winning end of it. But they'll be well coached, and they'll be ready to go.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you guys coming out and your patience, and obviously we'll have you here every Monday starting on the 28th. Good luck in week one, and hopefully on the 28th we're talking about 1-0 and the Rangers going into week two.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us.
All right, thanks, Coach Dodd. And the North Rangers. Again, folks, Varsity Chalk Talk, the preview show rolls on. We have a loaded lineup in this second half. We will have Lake Catholic, we have Brush, we have VASJ, and we have Euclid. So next up, usually they wait till the end, but tonight we're going to let them come on up. Coach O.D., come on. Again, it's Varsity Chalk Talk. We're live here at Hooley House in Mentor. Big, huge thank you to all the folks here, to Megan and her staff, to Kyle in the back, to everybody behind the bar, on the floor. This place is absolutely jam-packed, and they are killing it tonight. So, all right, next up, usually our anchor team, and probably will be most of the time this year, so I wanted to give them a break and let them go early tonight. They are coming off of a 5-5 season against, well, I mean, you could argue maybe one of the best schedules anywhere, but Coach never uses that as an excuse, so we're going to talk to him about last year a little bit. And going into this year, it's Coach Scott O'Donnell. The Lake Catholic Cougars are good enough to join us, and they have absolutely packed this place. So first of all, Coach, welcome, and thanks a lot for bringing all these guys tonight.
Thanks for having us.
So coming off of last year, 5-5, and obviously, you know, there were some opportunities and some games that I think you felt could have went the other way. With specifics we don't need to get into, but you guys felt really close last year. Some unforeseen circumstance at the beginning there, but this is a team that showed some real promise last year against a tough schedule.
Yes, they did. And to be honest with you, Billy, last year was last year. We're on to this year, and these guys have been working their butts off. They put the time and effort in the weight room, and it's been fun. Doubles have been fun. Summer's been fun, and we're ready to get it on this year and get into the stove week 1. We're excited.
Coach, tell me about this year and this offseason, and what have you seen this summer? What have you seen in two-a-days? What have you seen at 7-on-7 or camp? What have you seen in the scrimmages? What do you like about this group?
Well, I think I've seen some things. These guys compete, and it's always competition. Whether it's at practice, a 7-on-7, we did a couple of those over the summer, or it's just at practice for two-a-days. These guys get after it each and every day, and they're excited. They love getting out there and playing with each other, and that's something I've seen this year, and I've seen in other years. But these guys, it seems to be more of that, and them being here,
it's awesome.
Being around and having fun together shows something.
Absolutely. It's you can't see it obviously if you're listening to the podcast, but folks, this place is jam packed, and Lake Catholic is really well represented here tonight. So, Coach, let's just start with offense, and we do this every year. I'm not asking for game plans or secrets, but talk to me a little bit offensively and just what people should expect out of the Cougars this year.
Well, I think we're going to be pretty balanced on offense. I think we have 5-6 running backs in the backfield. Any of them we can trust to get the ball back there. And we got a plethora of those guys back there, and then Jack at quarterback, Matt Sloy behind him, 2 good quarterbacks that can throw the ball. So you're going to see us throwing the ball in the line up front. We're big up front. We're going to run the ball, and we're going to throw it when we need to, and keep defenses off guard. And outside, we got some playmakers. We got some skill outside. So we're going to be throwing some bubbles and throwing the ball downfield. The guys like Simcak and Hajduk and those kind of guys. So and the backfield guys, we got 5 or 6 of those guys are going to be toting it at different times. DJ, Repo, Robert. Ben, Conley, all those guys. They're all been getting the ball, and they've done a great job. So, got to remember all their names so I don't get mad at me.
You don't get mad at you. I got you. And then defensively, Coach, which obviously you know a thing or two about playing defense, about being on defense, about advancing to a state title game on defense. So you know what it takes. What do you like about the defensive side of the ball?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that's been evident so far on defense, and the thing that we've been doing well, you will see us on tape, is us getting after it. We may not play every play perfectly, and we still got a long way to go as far as execution-wise with certain things, but these guys are getting after it. They're pursuing the football, and I was adding up and collecting checks for our gold cards, and Coach Gibbs was showing the film, and when I walked in there, I saw 8 of the 11 guys on a tackle. So that's been exciting. They're getting after it. They're buying in to what we're doing on defense, and I think they're going to be a tough group to score against.
Coach Scott O'Donnell and the Lake Catholic Cougars are good enough to join us here. Varsity Chalk Talk, the season kickoff show, so well represented, and a shout out to Coach Nasi. I think I saw Coach Gibb too, right?
Coach Gibbs here too.
It's always nice to have the assistants here, and I bothered Coach Gibb for plenty of times at his previous stop. Coach, you want to introduce these guys? Or you want to let them do it themselves?
We'll let them do it themselves.
Okay.
These guys love talking on the radio. All
right, here you go. First up for the Cougars, go ahead.
Ryan Acero, offensive line.
So talk to me, because it feels like, and I'm guilty of it, everybody asks about quarterback and defense. Talk to me about the O-line. What do you like about this group this year?
We're a pretty tight group.
Got to hold it up. There you go.
We're a pretty tight group. We're depending on each other. We're really close, and we know that we can always depend on each other. If we're in a bad situation, that they'll help us no matter what.
With your schedule, you have no choice but to be physical. Those teams, Hoban and their DNs and Benny and NDCL, but talk about playing physical in the trenches. How much of an emphasis is that for you guys?
I think we're going to be one of the most physical offensive lines in Northeast Ohio. So,
what are some keys to success this year? What's got to happen for Lake Catholic to have a successful year?
Communication up front for sure, and everyone just being on the same page with one another. And just being able to depend on another person to be there.
Appreciate it. Pass that down. Next up, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Nick Simcak, wide receiver.
Talk a little bit about the offense and just the passing game as a wide receiver. What are some of the things you like about this offense? No, that's all right. Talk about the passing game and some of the things that you like about this offense as a receiver.
Well, we're a downhill running team, and the run's going to open up the pass a lot, and I think we're going to be able to throw the ball a lot more this year.
What have you seen this summer through the scrimmages, through two-a-days? What do you really like about this team right now? What's kind of jumping off the field at you?
The atmosphere is different, and everyone's motivated, and there's just good energy, and everyone's positive.
What are the strengths of the football team? I mean, is it athleticism? Is it physicality? Is it just experience? What would you say are some of the strengths?
There's a lot of experience. Our team's really physical with each other at practice and scrimmages. And they look good.
All right, appreciate it. Go ahead and pass that to your teammate. Next up. Again, we're with the Lake Catholic Cougars. Joining us to kick off hour number 2 of the kickoff show. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Cade Achitelli. I play defensive line.
So we talked about the O-line. Tell me about this defensive line. And I got to believe when that's your head coach, you've got to play defensive line with a little bit of an attitude, right?
Oh, yeah. When we're on the D-line, we just get after every play, especially with Coach Sean Gibbons, old school coach like him. We just practice is tough, and we just get after it.
Yeah, he'll motivate you, that's for sure. Talk about the schedule and just trying to get off to a quick start because it's so competitive in your league. Those non-conference games, when you look at, I know Coach doesn't want to look past week 1, but, the whole computer points thing, you got to really get off to a good start this year, don't you?
Yeah, Coach put together a good schedule this year. We don't like to play really easy teams, I guess you could say. We like to play the best out there. I feel because we're Lake Catholic and we like to play the best.
Talk, if you can, about just keys to the season. What's going to have to happen? I'm going to have you here a bunch of Mondays. If you're going to be successful this year, what's got to take place?
Effort and getting after it every play, every day at practice. Like Coach says, walking through the gates, it's a mindset, just getting it done every day and getting better.
Appreciate it, man. Go ahead and pass that down. All right, next up for the Lake Catholic Cougars, the quarterback. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Jack Gibbons, senior.
So Jack was running around the gym. It was like this big. What you kind of hit a growth spurt there, man, right? I know that ain't from your dad. Your dad's back there, right? So, no, talk about playing quarterback for this team and your responsibilities and running this offense.
This is my second year running this offense. There's a lot of responsibilities. There's a lot of skill coming back. I'm really excited about this year. Big game versus Stowe week 1, obviously. Get that win.
Coach mentioned being balanced. One of your teammates mentioned a dominant running game. I know you have confidence in yourself throwing the football. Talk about the versatility of this offense and being able to do a lot of different things.
As Coach said, we have about 5 or 6 running backs right now. We're looking pretty good running the ball in scrimmages. We want to throw the ball a lot, too. We're a pretty balanced team. I like to run the ball a little myself, too.
What can you tell me about just what you've seen this offseason? Each team, each year is different. So this summer, two-a-days, weightlifting, whatever, scrimmages, what have you seen out of this team that you really like?
I think we're really close as a team. Our workouts have been crazy. Coach Patriarca, Coach Bear, Coach Lytle, they get us going. We have a brand new weight room. We do crazy. We do pull chains, push, flip tires, just crazy stuff like that to get us ready for this year. The scrimmages look pretty good.
Jack, the expectations at Lake Catholic, right? I mean, you know this through your family and Coach O'Donnell. 5-5. I mean, I've had a couple other teams up here who they've used the word unacceptable. Is that what you guys feel? What's the motivation like right now?
Yes, 5-5 is definitely unacceptable. I think all of us play with a chip on our shoulder every week. You can ask any guy out here in the crowd, and that's just unacceptable at Lake Catholic. We know we got to do a lot better than that.
Appreciate it, man. We'll see you on the next Monday, be the 28th. Coach O'Donnell, let's bring you back in. Coach, since we don't have you next week to preview that week 1, give me a little bit about Stowe and just what week 1, you guys, like I said, you always play tough teams traditionally. When they had the Gobble kids, I mean, they've been really good over many years. Talk to me about the Bulldogs.
Coach does a great job with them. They're going to be ready. They're physical up front. They have a quarterback who can run the ball, he can throw the ball, and he's just going to be tough to stop. They have a back in the backfield. It's pretty good. We got their scrimmage, and they look good. Their offense, they have some playmakers outside, and up front they're big. And the last 2 years, St. Ed's has knocked them out of the playoffs. So that's the one team that's kind of been in their way. So we're expecting a war, and on the other side, defense, they play great defense, and we've seen their special teams on film for the last couple of years, and it's going to be a battle. We're going to go on the road, and it's going to be a battle. We're going to have to do everything in our power, and we will. We'll go over there and do what we need to do.
Coach, last thing for you. You and I had a real nice conversation a few weeks back, and one of the things you mentioned to me was taking advantage of your home schedule, because I believe you have a balance where you're going to be at home more than you're going to be on the road. I know you guys like playing at the JTO. You do well there. Talk about having that extra game and really taking care of business at home.
Well, after the first one's away, and then 6 out of the next 9 are at home. So that's nice. That's nice to know that. So you go on the road and take care of business, and then you come home for 6 out of the next 9. And, there's nothing like home cooking is what they say. So we play well at home, and these guys are excited about having our schedule this year, and I think the schedule sets up well. We stay healthy and do what we need to do up front, we're going to be pretty successful.
Well, Coach, I appreciate it so much, and the turnout and unbelievable here. So enjoy next week, and best of luck to you in week 1, and hopefully on the 28th we're talking about 1-0 for the Cougars, all right?
All right. Thanks, Billy.
Coach O'Donnell. And that is the Lake Catholic Cougars, thanks to them. All right, next up, the Euclid Panthers, and then we have VASJ. Coach Sowers is here, and then we will wrap it up with the Brush Arcs. Coach, you asked for the last spot, man, so I'm just, okay. I wasn't ignoring you. I know you just asked for it, so what's up, buddy? I got cuts and stuff all over the place. How are you, man? Hey, guys, thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. All right, so next up, great story last year for a lot of reasons. Played so well, battled through some stuff, got in, postseason aspirations. I mean, things have really, Euclid is really in a good spot right now. And I'm with a coach who just knows nothing but success everywhere he's been, Coach Rotsky. Coach, how are you, man? It's been a while.
Wow, it's good to be back. It's football season when I see it.
It is, sir, yeah. I've missed you guys, and it's great seeing, got some, man, look at the size of these
great
guys.
Oh. Very, very proud of the group I got up
I
here.
can't wait to talk to them. I always enjoy talking to the young men from Euclid. Coach, last year, we don't need to get into all the reasons, but obviously some real highs and some great moments on the field, and then just the unthinkable off the field. And just the way your guys handled it with so much class and just so much perseverance, and never use excuses. I can't say enough about your guys, your community, you as a leader of that team. I guess just my question would be, how difficult was 2016 for you?
Well, it was very tough, and I thank God that I had these guys here, because they're the success. So someone's got to be the loudmouth spokesperson. That's me. But these other guys, and the guys that we had last year, the senior class, they're the guys that kind of kept us together, and that, and the guys that have gone now who are so involved in our program still. That it was very bittersweet, I guess. It was just I guess you said it right. A lot of highs and a lot of lows, and but we're excited to be back. Kids have worked incredibly hard, and it's now it's their time to write their legacy now.
With the Euclid Panthers and Coach Rotsky, and Coach, coming off of the success of last year, and just you see this thing building, and I love the attitude, which is not a cocky attitude. It is, listen, Euclid's not afraid of anybody. We're not afraid to play. You're going to Byers this year. There's not a lot of teams raising their hand to go play at Byers Field and play St. Ignatius. So talk to me about just the progression of these guys and what you've seen out of this group.
Well, first off, it takes good kids who value GFGF, who value our God, our generosity, and family, and grades, and football. So they have to have that engraved in their hearts. And I believe that if you have great kids first, great football teams will follow. And so we won't back down from anybody. Our schedule is ridiculous. We play 5 playoff teams off the rip, 4 on the road, and in our first 4 games. But these kids have been working really hard. We had a big-time scrimmage against Mooney this past week, and we'll scrimmage Lorraine, who's a Final 8 or Final 4 team. So, we're going to be battle-tested, and these guys have been pounding each other. But I'm really excited. We got a good senior group. We got a tremendous junior group. We have 50 freshman football players. So,
wow.
So, and 3 new turf fields almost in. So very excited about that.
I was going to ask you, I'm going to ask the guys about that. I mean, a lot of things going on at Euclid and really redoing, Sparky D is not going to be the old venerable grass thing anymore. North has a new turf. South has new turf. Does that reinvigorate the community and the guys a little bit?
Oh, my God. Well, first off, we scrimmaged Mooney the first time we were ever on the second turf field. And it was awesome. I mean, it was just being out there knowing it was ours, that the community bought into what we were doing, what these kids have done, and that they, with all our kids going to college and all our kids playing and moving on and staying in college and ultimately getting degrees. I mean, they bought into that, and the community passed the levy. I mean, these guys were knocking on doors, so when you see your own sweat equity, come out and you see we're going to have a beautiful new high school, a beautiful new middle school, a new community center. I mean, a new 6,500 seats. You're going to be sitting on top. It's going to be like a mini horseshoe.
Right.
It's awesome, and they have earned it. They deserve it. That's the beauty. These kids know now they have earned it. It's been their hard work, and that's why I'm so proud of them.
It is the Euclid Panthers. I'm with Coach Rotsky and his guys. And, Coach, we got a lot still to talk about. Obviously, we're going to take a look at Week 1 because we won't be here next week because of the Browns. Introduce the young men you brought up with you tonight.
Well, I have an incredible. First off is Arquan Bush, commit University of Cincinnati,
Yep.
had offered at Kentucky, had offered at Michigan State. One of the best pure athletes I've had the privilege to coach, and one of the most dangerous punt returners. He does magical with the ball in his hand. Not very handsome, as you can see, but a terrific player. Second, Lorenz Wright, 5'9", 210-pound 3 technique, bench presses 420 pounds. Comes off the ball like he shot out of a cannon, and a heart of gold. A leader of leaders right now. Third, C.J. Hale will be our quarterback this year. Led our JV to an undefeated team. Has already has a couple of scholarship offers as a defensive back. But he'll be at the helm this year. And then last but not least, hello. Check.
We might have to put everything back on. It's in the back. All right. Coach, check yours. See what you got.
Check. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. All right.
So the last guy I have is our junior captain, A. Sean Berry. You may remember his brother Aaron Berry.
Absolutely.
Who's at Saginaw. Junior captain, center. Ready for this? 4.2 grade point average.
God bless. Good for
Leader
him.
of the offensive line. Brilliant. I'm hoping maybe he follows my son to Columbia.
There you go. Wow. Coach, how rare is it in your experience as a coach to have a junior captain? Are those usually reserved for seniors unless a kid comes out? Or what?
You know what? I had one at Maple, and I've had 1 year. So I think I've had 2 in 21 years. But so well-deserved, and he's the leader of our O-line, makes every single call, tough as nails, never misses. I'll go to war with him any day of the year.
All right, let's get these guys on the mic, Coach. And again, the little delay, we had a light issue here at Hooley. This is now the Euclid Panthers. And first up is big-time D1 recruit. And if he's not on this stage at the end of the year for the Fisher Award, I'd be shocked. Go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
I'm Arquan Bush.
First of all, thanks for being here tonight. And
Yes,
tell me a little bit about this team. Every year's different. Last year was success. You went to the playoffs. What do you like about this year's Panthers?
This year, I think we way faster than last year, so I like that better.
What have you seen in the offseason, the summer, two-a-days, the scrimmages? What have you seen that you kind of, really made you raise your eyes and thought, hey, we got a chance to be pretty special this
The
season?
toughness we've been playing with.
This is a team, obviously, that's got talent, has experience, got a leader at the top. So what's the key? What has to happen for Euclid to have a successful year?
We all just got to do our job, and we'll be good.
All right, appreciate it, man. Go ahead and pass that down. And here's the big dude. He's bench pressing 4-something. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
I'm Lorenz Wright.
Tell me about the strength and physicality of this team. Do you feel that that's going to be one of the positives of this football team?
Most definitely. The strength is most definitely going to be a positive for the team, and we're going to keep working together, and it's going to be good.
Coach talked about the schedule, man. You guys get no breaks. You start off with just a 4-game grinder. Are you guys looking forward to that challenge?
We love the competition. If we don't compete against the better teams, we'll never see where we stand as a team. So we love it.
After last year's success and going through what you had to go through and losing a teammate, How much did that bring you guys together, and will that carry over to this season?
You know, it's like that brought us closer together, not as a football team, but more as a family, you know. And it's like you put everything on the line for your family, so that just made us grind even harder.
This is such a silly question. It's such a journalist question, but what's the ceiling for this team, in your opinion? How good can this team be?
There isn't a ceiling. We never put ceilings on our team.
It's a tremendous answer. That's why I knew it wasn't a great question before I asked it. So thanks, man. Go ahead and pass that down. Next up, go ahead and introduce yourself.
CJ Hill.
So you're running this offense. You got that position that's some really good players have had recently. Talk about stepping in and playing quarterback for this team.
Being a one-year starter is challenging, but Noah Mitchell helped me out a lot, and I take a lot of leadership from him, and playing his role is really good. So he's really passed it down to me.
How nice is it to have guys like this in front of you, blocking for you? I mean, this offensive line could be a real strength for you guys, right?
It's good. We got a lot of juniors, but not, I won't say inexperienced, but they can get the job done at any level, and we can compete with the best.
So for you, at that position, because I've known Coach too long, taking care of the ball, making good decisions, talk about what's important at playing quarterback at Euclid.
It's a lot. It's a lot being a one-year starter, but it's not too much pressure because I think I can handle myself in any position.
All right. Go ahead and pass that down. It should reach to, you might need to scoot a little bit this way, all right? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Sean Beard.
So, Coach, that was one heck of an introduction for you, man. You know, you got the smarts, you got the athleticism, you got the family. What are expectations like for you? Do you feel any pressure playing your position at Euclid this year?
No, I'm just doing my role. I'm just doing my job that I'm used to do.
How special was it to be named the captain as a junior? I'm sure there's a lot of seniors that are deserving. What was it like to be named the captain?
Oh, I felt really special. I felt really honored that Coach Rossi actually picked me. All my teammates picked me and everything. Like, it just felt special.
When you look at this team, and you've seen them in the summer, you look at your schedule, is this a playoff team? Do you feel like if you guys execute, you can get back into the postseason?
Definitely. Definitely.
What are the keys to doing that? How do you do that?
We all just got to work together as a team. Offense, defense, work together. We got to move the ball together, quarterback, everything.
Appreciate it, man. Let's pass that down. Let's get Coach Rotsky back for a second. I'm with the Euclid Panthers. It's Varsity Chalk Talk, the preview show. Coach, I mean, you can tell. These are confident guys. They're well-spoken. It just seems like, and I mean, you've been doing this a long time. You wouldn't do it if you didn't enjoy the sport, but it seems like a group that you really enjoy getting out there and getting into battle with.
You know, we kind of were each other's salvation after the season, and they've grown incredibly close. I mean, this is a group, you know, we got about 22, 23 seniors, but about 35 juniors. 12 of those juniors are on Ivy League recruit lists, which we've never had that many. Right. And so, you know, but when you start off with the schedule we have, you know, these kids know we have to put our hard hats on, bring our lunch pails, because we're going on the road for 4 weeks. But week number 1, that's the game. That's the only game that matters. And we've got to be able to run the football, and we got to be able to stop the run. I think in Northeast Ohio, if you can run the football and if you can stop the run, you'll have some success. So that's been a big focus of ours, you know, coming into this year.
Talk about week 1, Coach. Talk about the opponent. I'm not looking at the schedule, so just for the folks listening on the podcast, week 1 for Euclid Panthers.
So, you know, we play Glenville at Collinwood Stadium. You know, they got us our first year. We got them last year. There's been times when we've had opportunities to extend leads, and we haven't done that. And they're the typical Glenville. They're fast, they're physical, they're going to be very talented. But I don't trade my guys for anybody. And like I said, we got to be able to run the ball against Glenville. You got to eliminate big plays. If you can stop them from big plays, it's going to help us. And you know, we've got to be very efficient and effective on special teams. And our playmakers got to make plays. Our playmakers got to make plays, and our center's got to make the right calls, put us in the right protections, and our quarterback takes care of the football. I think that's just, you know, take care of the football. Mm-hmm. You know, hey, I'd rather punt the ball on 4th down than give it up. And so we did a really good job of that last year, and we need to do a really good job of that again this year.
Well, guys, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming out after a long day and a late practice, and it's always great seeing Coach again. We're off next week, so I'll probably bug you again on the 28th, and hopefully you'll be 1-0, and we'll be talking about a win going into week 2.
Well, from your lips to God's ears, but we're certainly excited and grateful you had us on here tonight.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much.
Bill.
We'll see you again soon. That's the Euclid Panthers. We will see them again throughout the course of this year. They're always good to see them. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. Good luck to them the rest of the season, for sure. All right, Coach Sowers. All right, folks, it is Varsity Chalk Talk, the season preview. And we are rolling along. We have 2 more teams left, and we're going to get them in before 9 o'clock, I believe. So that's a positive. Hopefully you're enjoying the podcast, even with a little 1-minute delay for somebody hitting a pole outside or something. So it's been a great night. We've had a lot of really good teams, some of my favorite coaches in the area. And next up is a gentleman that I've known for a long time. He is finally getting his chance as a head coach, which is, I feel, well-deserved. And he's getting it at VASJ. In his first year as head coach after a long and very successful run as an assistant at a couple different stops, it is Coach Bill Sowers. Coach, how are you tonight, man?
I'm great, Billy. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
No, thank you so much for being here, and again, after a late practice, bringing these guys out. Well, Coach, I've been asking every coach, let's talk about last year, but there's nothing for you to talk about because you weren't there. I'll just say this about last year with these guys. It was a rough start. They rallied. They finished strong. They beat a team that ended up in the playoffs, to kind of get that share of the conference. I feel like there was some momentum built up for the Vikes. Even though you're new and some of your coaches just are coming on staff, could you feel some of that in the offseason?
Yeah, the biggest thing when I was asking questions after I got the job about the reason for the slow start, the answer that kept coming back to me is, football has not been a year-round sport at VASJ, but, I was hired with the idea that was going to change, and the kids have really responded. They've worked their tails off, and we're off to a great start so far, so I'm really excited.
Coach Bill Sowers, the VASJ Vikings. So, Coach, as a first-year guy, it's the getting-to-know-you period, and I mean that with the players, the administration, teachers, parents, the community. And it's not always easy for a variety of reasons that we don't have to go into, but talking to you, asking you about how things are going, it seems like, obviously nothing's going to be 100% smooth sailing, but how do you feel the transition has been for you?
It's funny. My AD said to me the other day, he goes, Coach, all these things you're doing, we had our retreat last week, all this stuff that we have going on. He's like, I'm great. You're putting your own stamp on things. This and that, and I said to him, Nate, I'm not doing anything we haven't done before, so it's really secondhand to me, and I don't mean that to come across as arrogant or anything like that, but we're really just sort of plugging in our program to a new place, and really nothing's changed for us as coaches. So,
Coach, before we get to these guys and talk to some of the players that you brought up, you've now had a chance to have, 2 weeks of practice and a couple scrimmages, which I got to believe is so different than just watching them work out or run around in shorts and helmets. So what have you liked about what you've seen out of your group for the last 2 weeks?
Well, first of all, our talent, even though our numbers are maybe a little lower than everyone would like inside of our program, the talent in our program is as good as I've coached at any stop I've been along the way. So obviously that's very encouraging. The big thing for me is getting those next group of guys ready, and that's really the task that I've laid on the staff. Hey, we've got some talent, we've got guys that can play. For us, it's about getting that next group of guys ready. God forbid something should happen. So,
Coach Sowers, the VASJ Vikings, good enough to join us, and he did bring up 3 of his players. And, Coach, go ahead and introduce who you brought up with you tonight.
I brought our starting quarterback, senior captain, number 7, Del Harris. Devontae Glover, senior captain, outside linebacker, number 6. And senior wide receiver, DB, Nate Dean, number 8.
All right, this is a good group of guys. Let's get them on the microphone. First up, go ahead. Just for the purposes of the podcast, so the folks listening on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, introduce yourself again.
My name is Delano Harris, senior quarterback with St. Joseph High School.
So talk to me a little bit about running this offense? What do you like about this offense? What are some of the positives that you've seen?
I like the versatility of the offense. We have a lot of plays for a lot of people, and I see a very positive outcome for the offense.
The transition, obviously, anytime to a new staff, a new offense, a new way of play calls and all that. How has the transition gone? Pretty smooth?
Yeah, at the beginning it was a little rough, but as time went on, it went very well.
What have you seen through the first two scrimmages, some positives, some things that you feel like you guys can carry over into the regular season?
I would say our competitiveness. We can really bounce back no matter what the situation is. Yeah.
All right, appreciate it, man. Go ahead and pass that down. Guys, make sure you keep it real close to your mouth so we can hear you. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Devontae Glover. I'm a senior, outside linebacker for St. Joe's High School.
Devontae, we were just talking with the quarterback here about the offense. Tell me about this defense. What are some of the things you like about this defensive unit?
I like we get to play free. You know, we get to get used to the defense. We get to play together. We get to stick together as a team, and we get to play off each other.
You have a schedule that has, right off the bat, some really good offenses. So how critical is it to get off to a good start? You know what I mean? To really kind of set the tone for the season early on.
We just have to play hard, be conditioned, be physical, and make sure that we stop the run. And make sure that, we don't make no mistakes. And if we do, we just bounce back.
What do you think are some keys to success this year? What's got to happen for the Vikings to be successful?
Knowing how to bounce back, knowing how to face adversity. Just play together as a team. Play as one.
That's a really good answer. All right, go ahead and pass that down. Really good answer. Next up, I know this young man. I know his brother very well, too. Go ahead.
My name is Nate Dean. I'm a senior. We're number 8 and play wide receiver and corner.
And then Nate is the definition of multi-sport guy, track guy, and does a little bit of everything. So, Nate, tell me a little bit about this offense and playing receiver, and obviously you had to adjust to kind of a new way of doing things. What do you like about this offense this year?
I like most about it is it's mostly balanced. So we have a lot of weapons on our offense, and it's easy to get into our playmakers and all that. So it's really balanced offense.
What are some of the things, in a transition, it's going to be a learning process for everybody, but what are some of the things you've seen either in the offseason or in the summer or in the scrimmages that you really like? Some things that are real positives for you right now?
I like that, it's a new offense and everything, but I like that even if we make a mistake, that we're all ready to bounce back and get ready for the next play. We don't let it hang our heads down or anything like that, so...
Last year, guys started slow and then obviously really came on at the end and were able to get a piece of the conference. So will that momentum in any way, even though it's a new coaching staff, can that momentum carry over for you guys that were on that team last year?
Oh, most definitely. Honestly, the seniors from last year, they still talk to us and they keep our heads up. And we're looking forward to starting the season, and we're going to use that momentum from last year to carry us to the playoffs.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Tell your brother I said hello, okay?
Yes, sir.
If you don't know, Sherman Dean was a tremendous basketball player at VASJ. So, all right, Coach Sowers back on the mic. Coach, so these guys all seem pretty confident that the transition has gone smooth. I guess they know what you want. They know what you're looking for. Obviously, it's going to be different than the past regime. With your schedule, you don't really have okay, guys, we got a few weeks to get used to this. Talk about setting the tone and getting after it right away in week 1.
Absolutely. That's one of the things we've been preaching about, starting fast. We're kind of in a place right now where we're like in the dog days of 2-a-days, and it's a little bit of a grind, especially being just north of 45 players. These guys are working their butts off, but we're looking forward to getting into next week. Finishing the scrimmage season off this Friday, getting into next week, getting into a regular game week routine, and like you said it, U.S. and the quarterback over there and Coach Malbasa, it's going to be a huge challenge for us, but we're ready. We can't wait. So
5 o'clock on Friday the 25th is an unusual starting time because U.S. does not have lights. It's a beautiful stadium, but they usually play on Saturday afternoon. So, Coach, as if it wasn't enough taking over a new program, now you got to play the only 5 o'clock game in the state of Ohio. But I don't know. Does that even worry you, or do you feel like, hey, look, football's football. Once our guys get off the bus and get over there, they'll be ready to go?
Well, it's funny because we scrimmaged this week twice at 10 a.m. We've been practicing at night.
Yeah.
And these guys roll off the bus a little groggy and sleepy-eyed, and, it takes us a little bit to get it going. So I'm hoping by playing that week 1 game the same time we've been practicing all summer long that it'll pay off for us. So,
well, it's a good one. Jaden Cunningham, obviously the quarterback at US. You got a pretty fine quarterback, some athletes on both sides. We'll see what happens in Hunting Valley on the 25th. Guys, appreciate it very much. You'll be off next week, at least from here, I should say. I'll bug you again on the 28th. So, Coach, good
Thanks
seeing you as always, all right? That's Coach Sowers and the VASJ Vikings. All right, so this has been a crazy, busy show. We even got through a little bit of a light issue. The electricity went down. If you're listening to the podcast and you hear a little gap, that's all that it is. No worries. We're back on. Mike Clark is running things well. Big, huge shout-out to the Hooley House staff, who has been just awesome tonight because this place has been jam-packed. They had to deal with the electricity going out and tons of orders coming out of that back, but we're getting it done. All right. We got one team left, and our anchor team tonight. So glad to have them back. Really appreciate their patience. And, folks, this is one of those teams, every summer you get that, who's the buzz team? Who's the buzz team? And I kid you not, and I don't owe them a favor. I'm not looking for anything from them. You're hearing a lot of good things about the Brush Arcs. You really are. And this is Coach Fink, and Coach, always good to see you, man. How you been?
Great to be here. Thanks for having us out.
It has been a while, and we got Coach back on here. And, Coach, let me just start with that. You hear this stuff, and, Brush, are they next in line? Can they take down Chardon? And are they this? Are they ready to take that step? As a coach, do you try and just, he's just an idiot journalist, or he just talks for a living, or it's just camp writing for the News Herald, or it's whatever? Or do you take that complimentary saying, hey, our guys must be doing something right? How do you kind of balance the two?
Well, I suppose you guys got a job to do, and we got a job to do. So, it's keeping the kids focused on getting better every day. And obviously appreciate the publicity and the support every time they come out and get a chance to get some notoriety for the program. It's a positive thing, but our kids understand that every day we've got to get better and continue to work, and we're a long way from where we need to be right now.
Coach, it's a team that, last year, the ups and downs. I mean, is that a fair way to kind of assess 2016? What do you take out of 2016, and what do you learn and grow from to move into this year?
Well, absolutely. Last year was a year where, we got some wins under our belt, and were able to win a couple games in the conference, and, they had an opportunity week 9 to play for a conference championship, and then we let week 10 slip away from us and didn't play our best football that night. But, overall is for them to learn to play in this conference and play consistently well in this conference, and what that style of football is about. And I think they got their feet wet and are sitting in a good spot right now.
Coach Fink and the Brush Arcs, good enough to join us. They will open on the road at Hoover on the 25th of August. And, Coach, tell me a little bit about this group. Just blanket, vanilla, no X's and O's or secrets. Offensively, defensively, what are some of the things you've seen that you like about this group?
Well, first thing that stands out for us is we have our secondary back. All 4 guys are back on the back end, and 3 of the 4 are Division II scholarship players. So we feel real confident about our skills on both sides of the ball. Our wide receiver core has been very explosive. I think that's where a lot of the notorieties come from this summer. Obviously, having the quarterback back and his 3rd year in the system is always a benefit and a perk. And I brought with me tonight the D lineman and a couple of offensive linemen, because I think that's where the season starts and ends. And having played the position, I got to bring them up here and show them some love.
Absolutely. I love that you did that. Why don't we get these guys on, and then we'll talk with you more about Hoover to wrap up the interview. Who'd you bring up with you tonight?
I got Rayshawn Stewart, a senior offensive lineman, Justin Grigsby, a junior offensive lineman, Ruel Greenwood, a junior defensive end.
All right. Guys, just for the podcast so people know who we're talking to, reintroduce yourself before you start going. Go ahead.
I'm Rayshawn Stewart, offensive lineman for Brush High School.
And you're a senior?
Yes.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about this senior class and just kind of, Coach Fink's been there a couple years now, and what do you feel you guys have grown? I mean, how much different do you feel you guys are from when you were in the younger grades?
I feel like we're great. When we first met Coach Fink, he helped us come together a lot as a senior class and helped us learn more and get better as we grow and mature.
I think it's great that Coach brought you guys up here because I think people get so caught up in the skill guys and how fast and the 40-yard times, but it stops and ends with you guys. If you're not doing your job, they can be as good as they want. So talk about the offensive line. Talk about the unit as a whole.
Our unit as a whole, we're pretty solid. We got 5 guys that are very versatile, can play any position. I started off playing tackle. I bumped into guard. We got a lot of guys that basically do whatever to help the team. So whatever position we need to play, we'll play.
Some keys to this year. If Brush is going to have a successful season, I'm going to be bothering you guys just about every Monday. If you're going to be successful this year, what's got to happen?
We got to be more explosive up front, more dominant as an offensive line, as an entire unit.
All right, appreciate it, man. Go ahead and pass that to your teammate. Next up.
Justin Grigsby, Jr. for Brush High School.
So talk to me a little bit about defense. We talked about offense, and what do you like about the defensive side of the ball up front in the trenches?
All right, we're very good at fielding the ball. We get to the ball very fast. We're explosive off the line. We get hands-on.
Talk to me about this summer, 2-a-days, whether it's the weight room, whether it's the scrimmages you've had so far. What are some of the things that you like that are positives about this summer?
I like the intensity and the physicality. We've been very, very fast off the ball.
Looking at your schedule, you got an away game at Hoover and then 3 straight at home. So how important is that beginning of the season to take care of business at your hometown?
We got to start it off good and just keep it rolling.
Corb Field, I know you want to play well and kind of protect your turf, right? Yeah. Same question. Keys to the season. What do you feel is a key to success this year?
We just have to keep it up. Keep up the physicality. Keep up the intensity. And
Appreciate it, man. Go ahead and pass that down. Next up for the Brush Arcs, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Ruel Greenwood, defensive end, Brush High School.
Talk about the strengths of the football team. If you had to say on paper or when you see these guys practice, what is the strength of the team?
The strength of the team is being athletic, flowing to the ball, and the intensity.
What about the scrimmages this summer? What have you seen that you like about what you've seen so far?
I like the intensity of how the team goes and going play after play.
With your offense, I feel like you're going to score some points. So the defense, does that take some pressure off you on defense because you know your offense is going to produce?
No, we got to continue. We got to shut them out.
There you go. Okay. What are the expectations this year for you guys? Do you feel like you're a contender in the WRC?
Our expectations this year are very high, playoff, championship.
All right, appreciate it. Let's bring that mic back to Coach Fink. And we are with the Brush Arcs. They are wrapping up a very, very busy, unbelievably packed Hooley House here. It's Varsity Chalk Talk. It is our season kickoff. Coach, I don't think I'm stepping out of line. I don't even think you're going to get mad at me for saying until they get beat, Chardon is... They're the mark, the target in the conference. But I don't think that means that every team that plays the Hilltoppers is just going to roll over and play dead. So do you guys look at the WRC as, hey, they won it last year, so until somebody proves otherwise, they're kind of the standard right now?
Without question, and we can never get mad at you. You're Bill Tilton. But without question, Chardon's the defending champion, and they sit on top of the mountain, literally out there.
Yep.
And I think everyone in the conference will tell you that's the team to beat in the conference this year. But with our conference, week in, week out, it's a hard-nosed football game. I think that's the fun thing about our conference is the parity in it. And you looked at last year, it was a lot of 6-4, 5-5, 4-6 teams because we just ended up beating each other and going through that. So without question, I think everyone looks at Chardon that way.
Coach, I mentioned to some of your guys about you started at Hoover and then, 3 straight on the turf at Corb, right? So in the history of this show, nobody's ever said, no, Bill, we like to get off to a slow start. But how important is it to set that tone and take care of business, on your campus?
Well, it's important for us. I think it's important for our community, and our kids want to go out and then be able to perform in front of their peers and the students at Brush High School. And going on to Hoover week 1's a big test for us. It's a really good football team, and the quarterback's a heck of a player, and they're really big up front. And take that trip down to Stark County is never easy. And last 2 years, they've gotten us by 4 points each game. It's been a great football game, so we're excited to go down there and then to be able to come home and have John Hay. Will be an emotional football game with the tragedy they went through this summer. They're a very, very talented team, and everything I've seen on them, they're very, very explosive offensively.
Coach, I asked your guys, and it's kind of a cliche question, but if you had to say keys for the Arcs this year, is it staying healthy? Is it just getting better in practice? Is it, all right, you guys know what I want to do, now let's fine-tune some things. What are really the keys to this season?
Well, I think one thing we pride ourselves on as a program is that every week we're getting better. And, we're a team that we never have a playbook that's set and here's what we do. It's how can we continue to build and progress each week in practice and in preparation and game plan. And, I think every high school coach is going to tell you that staying healthy is important. In terms of getting young guys ready. And the nice thing about us going into the last week of camp here is we still have some competition at some positions. We've got some guys we can count on. And, there's 28 guys that we feel really comfortable playing on a Friday night, which will help you sleep a little bit better.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. Thanks for being patient. And we're going to do it again on Mondays. I'm going to bug Coach, and I promise I won't make you wait till the end anymore, all right? So, hey, good luck. We won't see you next week, so good luck in week 1, and hopefully on the 28th we're talking about being 1-0, all right?
Thanks a lot. This was
That's
impressive.
Coach Fink and the Brush Arcs. Thanks to them. All right, folks, so that is 10 of the top teams in the area. That's the Varsity Chalk Talk preview show. Real quick, shout out to Megan and Kyle and everybody in here, the staff behind the bar, Danielle, everybody who's still talking to me after this night. This was unbelievably packed. B, of course. This is what happens. We gotta take a picture of this and show the other Hoolies, right? B, they don't get it over here. They don't quite understand how this goes. So, but really, Megan and everybody was great tonight. So thanks to them, Richie Reese, John, everybody who allows us to do this. Busy, the GM. Shout out to them. To all the teams, to all 10 of them, and all 10 head coaches. To Mike Clark, who's my tech guy, who, guys, I'm telling you, go find the podcast. Listen to yourself. Listen to your team. It can, Mike, am I missing something? SoundCloud, Facebook, YouTube, and I'm going to tweet it out, right? Those are the 4 ways, all right? So make sure you check it out. We just did 10 teams in 2 hours, and that's including a little lightning strike, so that went pretty well. Folks, it is an exciting time of year. Next Monday, you got the week off from Chalk Talk because you got the Cleveland Browns, but we will be back in this seat on the 28th. Please check out the podcast. Check it out on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or SoundCloud. For Mike, for the Hooley House staff, for everybody that was here, thanks to the parents, the players, and the coaches, have a good night, and we'll see you on the 28th.